Another young woman has been murdered in Johannesburg.
A young woman was found murdered in
The woman
Johannesburg.
was found buried in the shallows.
In today's video, we are going to be speaking about two topics: scarecrows and gender-based violence. Most of us, if not all of us, know the purpose of scarecrows. They are created to protect what's in the garden and in the fields and to scare away things that do not belong there. And gender-based violence, it's a well-known social issue that is infecting and affecting people globally.
Hi everybody, my name is Mpume Zikhali. I am currently a youth worker. I do a lot of volunteering work. I work for an NPO called Epic Youth Matters, and we deal with youth and community work. Gender-based violence is caused by various factors that contribute to people being belittled and being suppressed of their power, and gender inequality and the lack of access into various things in life. It's caused by toxic behaviors and toxic psychological thoughts.
Cultural, in the sense that some people are taught to believe that men are greater than women, and sometimes when the roles are reversed, some women are taught that for as long as you are independent and you've got everything going for you, you're allowed to look down on a man who doesn't have as much as you do. And psychological, in a sense that some people are brought up in a home where there's a lot of abuse, so that's all they know.
You'll find that in a certain home, the only way they resolve issues is by beating or shouting and screaming at each other. And therefore, a child or a person from that household will grow up knowing that, okay, the only way we can resolve any issue in this house is by having a fist fight or screaming at each other and, and stuff like that.
1 in 3 South African women will be raped at least once during their lifetime.
In the last year, 2,695 women were murdered in South Africa.
No, they need to know we are fighting for our rights.
I wish I could go anywhere, like just the grocery store, without having to share my live location with one of my girls or a family member, just to be sure that I come back safely. I would go to a park, sit in the middle of the park, read a book, take a nap, like how people do in the movies, I would take a nap in the middle of the park, wake up whenever, go back whenever, and not fear my life, honestly. I wish I could not spend money on pepper spray and tasers and just a lot of protective things that women basically see now as a necessity to have. So I wish I would just not spend money at all on pepper spray. Honestly, I would go for a jog on the beach at night without fearing my life. I wish I can just take a self-defense class because I want to. Not because I have to, because with gender-based violence, it's an obligation basically for women to at least know some form of knowing how to protect themselves, So I would go to a self-defense class only because I want to.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has launched a private sector-led gender-based violence and an femicide response fund.
So released a statement last week saying 3 key bills relating to gender-based violence had been introduced in Parliament tonight.
He's called them the most far-reaching legislative overhaul in the fight against gender-based violence.
But the problem comes when it's time to implement those laws that have been planned, and that is also because some people have not been sensitized around GBV, so they become secondary abusers to the people that they're seeing to in different workplaces, law enforcement agencies, clinics, and so on. So for me, I genuinely feel like, yes, South Africa does have some good things that are put into place, but the only problem is the implementation part. A lot of people still need to be sensitized around GBV, because some people still believe that GBV falls under being disciplined and not so much of an abuse. So that's why they feel like it's correct or it's right for you to beat a woman or it's right for you to hit a man, because they still feel like, okay, it's a disciplinary method instead of them being taught that it is a form of abuse.
How would I want my scarecrow to play its role in society? It will not just protect women and children and scare away violence, but there's so many roots that lead to the social issue of gender-based violence. So each body part of the scarecrow will tackle each root. For example, the head symbolizing educating young people. And not just education at school, but education at home. The legs may symbolize movement. Firstly, moving backwards to discover our identities, such as cultural identity. Now there's so many symbolic meanings that each scarecrow may have, each body part may have. But overall, our scarecrows should not wait for the crops to die to then play their roles in society, but should go to the roots of the weeds that are growing and killing these crops, pluck them out, and this will hopefully help prevent, control, stop, and soon eradicate the social issue of gender-based violence. And I leave you with this. Are you going to be that scarecrow?